Did something happen? The phone finally connected, and I quickly told my husband. It seems someone broke into the room. Everything is a mess. Your room looks fine, but something might be missing. I'm calling the police right now. Wait a moment, my husband said, hesitating before telling me something I didn't expect. I had let my mother stay in the room during our trip. What does that mean? I wondered. My name is Lauren. I'm 32 years old, and I work at a company. I've been working hard since I graduated from university, and I got married just a year ago. My husband is Tyler. He works at a company we partner with. I first met Tyler when I went to a meeting at his company as the new project leader. I was nervous, but he greeted me with a warm smile. Nice to meet you. I'm Tyler. I'm looking forward to working with you, he said. Over time, after a few meetings, we got to know each other better. One day after meeting, Tyler asked me, Lauren, do you have some time now? Would you like to have tea at a cafe? I know. That sounds nice. I'd love to go, I replied. At the cafe, we talked, and I was drawn to his kindness and sense of humor. I felt comfortable opening up to him. Lauren, Tyler said after a while, I've been wanting to get to know you better. How about having dinner together this weekend? When he said that, I felt surprised and happy. Yes, I'd love to, I replied. After that, we went on more dates. Tyler was always kind and listened to me carefully. About 8 months later, after a dinner date, Tyler suddenly confessed his feelings. Lauren, to be honest, I've always been thinking about you. Will you go out with me? I love you. My heart swelled with happiness, and I responded, I love you too, Tyler. I look forward to our future together. From that moment, our romantic relationship officially began. As we continued dating, Tyler proposed a few times, saying, Lauren, let's live together. Let's get married. At first, I wasn't sure. It felt a bit fast. But Tyler's deep love and his wish to build a life together made me feel confident. One day, I finally said, Tyler, I also want to build a future with you. Let's get married. Tyler was overjoyed, and that's when our new life together began. After living alone for so long, sharing meals, watching TV, and having conversations at home with him brought me so much happiness. I am very happy with my married life with Tyler. However, if there's one thing that bothers me, it's my mother-in-law. She had Tyler when she was young, so she's still in her 30s. Tyler was raised by his single mother, and they are very close. They often go shopping together because she invites him, and maybe because of this, she finds it hard to let go of Tyler. She often gets involved in our marriage. For example, when we were picking a dining table for our new apartment, she came along and said, Lauren, how about this table? I think it's wonderful. I hesitated and replied, yes, but it might be a bit too big. She insisted, no, having a large table will make family meals more comfortable, right, Tyler? Then she turned to him for agreement. Tyler said, yeah, maybe a bigger one would be better. With that, my mother-in-law decided. Then it's settled. Also, for some reason, she had a spare key to our house. She often came over without telling us. One day, I came home and she was making clam chowder in the kitchen. Lauren, welcome home. I'm making clam chowder today, she said with a smile. I tried to politely say, Mom, it's a bit troublesome when you come over without telling us first. She smiled back and said, don't be so formal. We're family, and it's no problem for me to visit anytime, right? On top of that, she often asked me to cook for her. Lauren, next weekend, please come to my house with Tyler and cook the meal. I hesitated and said, but you're such a good cook. Why do I need to do it? It's not about that. It's good for young people to work hard. Tyler is looking forward to it. Tyler, looking a little nervous, added, yes, Lauren, your cooking is always delicious. I'm looking forward to it. Her interference kept growing, and it started to stress me out. She wasn't just interfering. She often seemed upset with me and would say things that hurt. For example, when we were celebrating Tyler's birthday at our house recently, she showed up without telling us. Happy birthday, she said when she arrived. Oh, Mom, Tyler said. She noticed me and said, oh, Lauren's here too. Did you have the day off today? Yes, I answered. I took the day off to celebrate Tyler's birthday. She frowned and said, that's a mistake. Tyler and I were planning to celebrate his birthday just by ourselves. Your presence ruins our plans. I wish you had understood that better. I tried to stay calm and replied, but I am Tyler's wife now. She shot back. So, what if you're his wife? Do you think you're more important than his mother? Your marriage is just a piece of paper. Don't get ahead of yourself. I'm his mother, and I brought him into this world. She always seemed to put her relationship with Tyler above mine. She didn't like me much because she loved her son so much. Because of that, she was often cold toward me. I told myself to stay calm and not feel jealous. After all, she raised Tyler alone, which is something to respect. But then something happened that I couldn't ignore. It was last week in the living room. There was an old watch that my grandfather gave me before he passed away. When he got sick and had to close his watch store, he gave me his oldest watch. This antique watch is worth over $40,000, and in his will, my grandfather said I should only sell it if I ever faced financial trouble. After he passed away, this watch became a very special heirloom to me. I kept it in the living room so I could always feel close to him. One day, when my mother-in-law visited, she saw the watch and criticized it. What is this? Why keep such an old, worn-out watch in the living room like it has any value? I tried to explain that it was a valuable antique and a special memory from my grandfather, but she didn't seem to understand. The way she looked down on the watch made me feel like she was also looking down on my grandfather and me. It hurt a lot. To protect the watch from more comments, I decided to put it away in a drawer in my room. Later, she asked with a laugh, "What happened to that old watch?" When I told her I had stored it in my room, she seemed happy, like she had won, which only made me feel worse. After she left, Tyler asked if I was okay and tried to comfort me. I told him how hurt I felt by what his mother said. He listened, but his answer was always the same. My mom does it because she loves me. I'm sorry. I wasn't looking for an apology. I just wanted him to support me when it came to his mother. But I also knew how much he respected her for raising him alone, and I knew he cared about me too. I understood it was hard for him to be stuck between his mother and me, so I couldn't blame him. In the end, I felt like I had no choice but to keep enduring it for his sake. Then, out of the blue, Tyler planned a week-long vacation. I felt so relieved and happy because I knew he was trying to ease the tension with his mother. We went on the trip, just the two of us, and I really enjoyed our time together. For a whole week, I didn't think about my mother-in-law at all. It was such a happy time, and the days passed quickly. Finally, the day came for us to go home. Tyler had to stop by his office first, so I went back home alone. As I walked back, thinking about the happy memories from our trip, I unlocked the door to our home. It was our familiar apartment, but as soon as I stepped into the living room, something felt wrong. I couldn't quite figure out what it was at first. I looked around, feeling uneasy. Wait a minute. I remembered that I had closed the windows and curtains tightly before we left, but now I noticed that the curtains were slightly open and the window lock was undone. The sofa cushions were messy, and the TV remote, usually kept in its case, was neatly placed on the table. It seemed like things had been moved, but not in a way that was obvious. The room was clean, but since I always keep everything in order, these small changes made me feel really uncomfortable. I went to the kitchen and found that some food was missing from the fridge. There were watermarks in the sink like someone had used it recently. What does this mean? I checked the entrance, but nothing seemed out of place. I started to wonder if my mother-in-law, who has a spare key, might have come in without telling us. But it didn't seem like something she would do while we were away, and we wouldn't have left the window unlocked. At the time, I believed she had some respect for our space. Then the idea that it might have been a burglar crossed my mind, but I didn't want to believe it. If it had been a break-in, there would be more mess, right? Everything in the living room seemed fine, so I tried to tell myself that Tyler must have moved something before we left. Even though I tried to convince myself, I couldn't reach Tyler, and my anxiety kept growing. What if someone really had come in? Feeling nervous, I opened the door to my room quietly. The moment I stepped inside, I was shocked by what I saw. My room was completely messed up. Clothes that should have been neatly folded were thrown all over the bed, and underwear was scattered on the floor. The drawers of the dresser were open, and clothes were jumbled up inside. The most shocking part was my desk. Every drawer had been pulled out, and the contents were tossed everywhere. I quickly checked the other rooms, but only my room had been targeted. Why just this room? There was nothing of great value here. Then I thought of the watch my grandfather had left me. No way. Why is it gone? I frantically searched around the desk, but the watch was nowhere to be found. At that moment, I realized the watch had been stolen. It was clear that someone had come in and taken it, but I couldn't understand why they would steal such an old watch. I lost control and quickly tried to call my husband again. This time, the call connected. "Did something happen?" he asked. I hurriedly explained. "It seems someone broke in. The room is a mess. Your room looks fine, but something might be missing. I'm calling the police right now." "Really?" he replied, sounding concerned. "Yes, some food is missing from the fridge too. Someone must have sneaked in."
"Wait a minute," he said.
"I want to check it out myself before you call the police. I'll be home soon. Meanwhile, see if anything else is gone." "But I can't wait. This is serious. Some of my things are missing," I exclaimed. Then, my husband said something unexpected in an uneasy tone. "Actually, I let my mother stay in the apartment while we were on the trip." "What do you mean?" I asked, shocked. "Our apartment is close to the station, and it's convenient for her to go downtown. She asked me if she could stay here to keep it safe." "Wait, why would you make such an important decision on your own?" I wasn't informed at all. I was furious. Knowing that I don't get along well with his mother, I felt hurt that he hadn't considered my feelings. But instead of addressing my anger, he just tried to calm me down.
"There's no need to be so upset," he said.
"It's always been like this. My mother comes and goes as she likes. Just deal with it like before." "That's not funny. I can't just endure this. My mother-in-law trashed the room. It's outrageous to just accept it." Suddenly, I heard a voice behind me. "Lauren, why are you so upset?" It was my mother-in-law. "Mom, are you talking to Tyler right now?" I asked, still angry. "Why are you speaking to my son like that?" she asked sharply. "I'm upset because he let you stay in our home without telling me," I replied. "It's not right. How dare you?" she snapped. "Blaming Tyler is like saying you hate that I'm here." "Honestly, I don't want you coming and going from our house whenever you feel like it," I said, unable to hold back. "You're such a coward, Lauren," she said angrily.
"Don't talk like that.
You just blame me and get mad at Tyler for no reason, acting like the victim. But it's all in your head." It was clear that I had really been affected. My room had been ransacked, and I knew my mother-in-law had been the one in there. I didn't understand why I was being blamed. What surprised me even more was that Tyler defended her in this situation. After a while, Tyler came home, clearly upset, and sided with his mother, blaming me for overreacting. "I can't believe this, Lauren," he said. "This is unacceptable." I couldn't stand it anymore. I took both Tyler and his mother into my room to show them the mess. Tyler couldn't hide his shock when he saw the state of the room. But my mother-in-law didn't seem surprised at all, almost like she already knew what had happened. It became obvious she was the one responsible. "Mom, be honest. Did you do this?" Tyler asked. "Even if the room was messy, you're exaggerating." "It's not that bad," she said dismissively. "I just forgot to clean up. That's all," my mother-in-law said casually. "If I clean it now, there won't be a problem, right? I was going to do it later anyway." "You're being too sensitive." She admitted she was the one who made the mess but showed no regret at all. Tyler stood there, looking uncomfortable, not saying anything. Then she started defending herself. "I borrowed Lauren's clothes because I left mine at home. We're not that different in size, so I thought it would be okay. We're family, so getting upset over this seems unreasonable, don't you think?" To my surprise, Tyler began to agree with her. "I think so. You can't blame everything on my mom just because a few things are missing. Borrowing things in a family is normal, and it's strange not to forgive a little mess." I had been hoping for an apology from both of them. Instead, it was the opposite. Tyler even asked me to apologize to his mother for my rude words and attitude, even though it was clear she had messed up my room. Seeing him support her so strongly made my feelings for him fade. I started feeling empty inside. I had always believed Tyler cared for me just as much as he did for his mother, but the truth was different. To avoid any criticism toward himself, he eagerly blamed me and clearly took her side. I felt neglected and heartbroken, and in that moment, I decided to stand up for myself. I couldn't keep holding back for Tyler's sake anymore. Before Tyler returned, I had already prepared my next move. I turned to my mother-in-law and asked directly, "Where did you take my watch?" She looked nervous but answered, "I don't know anything about a watch. Why would I care about that old thing?" But her reaction gave her away. I was sure she had taken it. No matter what Tyler said, I wasn't going to forgive her. I pressed her again. "You admit you made a mess in this room, right? There are things missing, and you must know where they are." Tyler jumped in to defend her. "Hey, stop accusing my mom. If she says she didn't take it, is it worth getting this upset over just a watch? If you really want to watch that badly, I'll buy you a new one, so let's drop this." "Stop interfering, Tyler," I said firmly. "That watch is the only thing I have left from my grandfather, and it's irreplaceable. I won't give up until I get it back." "I haven't stolen anything. You're being too noisy," my mother-in-law said defensively. "It's fine to be noisy if you didn't steal it," I replied. "Then we have to consider that someone else broke in, and if that's the case, I need to call the police immediately. They can investigate, take fingerprints, and help us find the thief quickly." I grabbed my phone and started walking out of the room. At that moment, my mother-in-law rushed to stop me. "Wait, please wait. There's no need to call the police. To be honest, I did borrow it, but I'll return it in a week, okay? Just a moment ago, you said you knew nothing about it," I said. "And please don't use the word borrowed. Taking something without permission is stealing. You've just admitted to stealing it. Where is the watch? It's very important to me, and I need it back now. I can't wait a week." She started sweating, looking more and more nervous. "It's impossible," she said. "Why is that?" I asked, feeling a sense of dread. "Because I already sold it to a pawn shop."
"What?
"Really? You sold it?" "Yes, it sold for $40,000. Can you believe it? I didn't think it was worth that much." "Stop joking. Can you return the $40,000 right now?" I demanded. "I'll go to the pawn shop myself to get it back." Well, I'm sorry, but that's impossible," she stammered. "I've already spent most of the money, and there's only a little left. You'll have to find the money yourself." Seeing her mocking and disrespectful attitude, I realized there was no point in continuing the conversation. I made up my mind to take the final step. "I see. This was your last chance," I said calmly. I dialed the police. "Hello, I'm the person who called earlier. Unfortunately, a theft has occurred, and the person responsible is here. Please come right away." After the call, Tyler and his mother rushed over to me in a panic. "Who did you just call?" they asked. "I called the police," I explained. "I already told them about the situation, and they advised me to check things out first. Now that it's clear you stole my watch and sold it without permission, I've reported it. Not only did you steal it, but you also sold it and used the money for yourself. That's a crime." "What are you talking about?" she snapped. "I was helping you. I turned that old, unnecessary item into cash for you, and instead of being thankful, you called the police." I'm shocked. "Lauren, isn't this going too far?" Tyler added. "My mother is your family too." "Family?" I said, feeling hurt. "I can't consider someone who steals my things and doesn't feel bad about it as family. She's a criminal." "A criminal?" "No. I've explained it many times," she protested, but I had already made my decision. "I haven't done anything," my mother-in-law protested. "Well, all of this conversation has been recorded, and I plan to give it to the police as evidence," I replied calmly. "You shouldn't underestimate the police. Once they check the fingerprints and the pawn shop's camera footage, it will be clear that you are the culprit. Continuing to hide it will only make things worse for you." As I spoke, a cold smile on my face, both my mother-in-law and my husband showed their anger. "This is ridiculous. Just because I borrowed it, it's come to this? Are you serious?" she fumed. My husband added, "If you do this, I won't hesitate to consider divorce." "Is that what you want? You'll be in trouble too if we get a divorce." It seemed they thought the word divorce would scare me into backing down. But I stayed calm and replied, "I don't mind at all. What's more troubling is that your mother is a criminal. I've been ready for divorce from the start. Wait, please. The divorce talk was just a joke, my husband said quickly, sounding panicked. I got too emotional. Please reconsider. I'll apologize as many times as you want. Just please overlook my mother's actions. Tears appeared in his eyes as he pleaded. Ironically, it was his mother who should have been apologizing, but she just stood there with her arms crossed, staring at me as if to intimidate me. Your excuses are pointless, I said firmly. I've forgiven both of you many times, but you always ignore my feelings and keep defending her. This time, I won't forgive either of you. My firm stance left my husband speechless and my mother-in-law furious. Actually, I continued, before this incident with the watch, I had already been hurt by your mother several times. After one payday, $1,000 I had left at home went missing. I knew she had been around, but I didn't have proof. Since then, I've been deliberately leaving fake bills around the house. Did you know that? She began to panic, visibly sweating. What should I do? What should I do? She muttered, as the reality of the situation set in. When the police arrived, I explained everything. Tyler and his mother tried to argue, saying things like, "This is just a family matter, and my wife is exaggerating," but based on the condition of the room and the recorded conversation, the police took my mother-in-law into custody on suspicion of theft. Tyler went to the police station with her, escorted by an officer. Afterward, I headed to the pawn shop my mother-in-law had mentioned. At the shop, there was clear evidence that she had sold the watch. The surveillance footage confirmed it. Luckily, my grandfather's watch had not been sold yet and was still there. Thanks to the officer's help, I was able to get it back. I was able to get back my grandfather's watch. It wasn't easy to confront my husband and mother-in-law, but I believe calling the police was the right thing to do. When I held the watch again, it felt like my grandfather was proud of me. After that, the divorce with my husband was finalized. He begged me to avoid the divorce and asked me to help his mother, but I ignored his pleas. I sometimes see him at work, but I don't talk to him, and my supervisor, who understands the situation, handles things professionally. Communication with him was done strictly through lawyers, and in the end, my husband accepted the divorce. The police gathered more evidence, including the pawn shop clerk's testimony, which confirmed my mother-in-law's guilt. She is now serving a 4-year prison sentence. At first, her actions were just to bother me, but when she found out the watch was worth a lot of money, she got greedy and spent it all. Because of that, she lost her part-time job and will have a hard time finding work after she gets out of prison. What started as minor harassment turned into a serious crime that ruined her life. The foolishness of her actions is shocking. Since she had no savings, the $40,000 to repay the pawn shop fell on my ex-husband. He's now working hard to pay for his mother's living expenses, and everyone at his workplace knows about our divorce and what his mother did. This has made his life difficult and uncomfortable. Meanwhile, I am finally free from the stress caused by my ex-husband and his mother. I'm thoroughly enjoying my independence. While my marriage didn't turn out as I had hoped, being able to protect the valuable watch from my beloved grandfather is a big comfort to me. Right now, I'm focusing more on myself than on romantic relationships, and I'm excited to enjoy my single life. I'm also looking for new hobbies and interests. A new chapter in my life is starting, and after everything I've been through, I'm dedicated to taking care of myself and living life fully. I plan to fill my days with hope and happiness and live a positive, active life.